Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. In the past few weeks, the price of Bitcoin has been stuck in a very unsettling area, especially for people who are not investing. A lot of people are afraid to buy because they don't know where the price will go in the next few to 3 months. What's going on? What is it that is stopping Bitcoin? Is there a price cut going on? Should the bull run be called off? Here are some examples of people who have recently talked about Peter Thiel on Joe Rogan, Matthew Siegel from Van Eck, Bill Miller, and Michael Saylor, who is known as the Bitcoin bull, and why Bitcoin bulls are so sure that the price of Bitcoin will go to a certain place next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bitcoin Daily. I'm Hurley, and I'm in charge of content here at Swan. Let's start. Now, I've been talking to friends and family about Bitcoin lately, and I get the feeling that the recent price changes have made people a little uneasy. In March of this year, it barely made it above the previous all-time highs. Since then, it's been going up and down, with some worrying wicks to the low 50s earlier this month. A normal Bitcoin fan will tell you that this is exactly what Bitcoin always does. You get bored and start to doubt yourself, and then it rips your face off when you least expect it. This is why we always say to spend at least 100 hours learning about Bitcoin. I know that sounds like a lot of time, but to help people who are newer to the game understand, let's look at what Van Eck's Michael Siegel said when asked about Bitcoin's recent slow price action. The dollar has been making relative lows over the last few months, while gold has been setting new small highs. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is not part of this move right now. In other words, it's had a string of lower highs and lower lows. How do you do it? Describe the difference between what gold is doing now and how Bitcoin has been acting for the past few months. Yes, there are a few things going on. One is the winding down of different carry deals and growth, which has been having some trouble. And the link between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq is stronger than it has been in 2 years. It's not nearly as high as it was in late 2022, but it's still the highest level in 2 years. The second reason is that there are 4 people for sale. The German government has sold all of its Bitcoin, which was worth $2 billion. The US government is selling coins that have to do with the Silk Road. People who had debts to 2 big banks have just been paid back. The 2 are MT, Gox and Genesis. We're in for 4 more years of forced selling now that the halving is over. This is a normal seasonal pattern for Bitcoin to have a hard time about 1 to 3 months after the halving, which happened in April, and right before an election, when the market tries to figure out which candidate will win. Based on past, that's when Bitcoin really takes off. This is where we buy things. We believe it gets better. We were in the calm before the storm with Bitcoin right now, to kind of sum up what Siegel just said. In the past, the Bitcoin price has tended to stay around the all-time high right after the halving and then go up for another big move. Now, forced sellers seem to have made things worse and may have even made this consolidation time last longer. But let's not forget how much the price of Bitcoin changed at the end of last year and in the first few months of this year. Before and after the spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved, the price went up by almost 3 times. It does make a lot of sense to have a longer cooling off time here. But this doesn't answer a question a friend asked me last weekend. He asked me why people who believe in Bitcoin are so sure that it will be worth a lot more in the future. Why is there a gap between people who study Bitcoin in depth and people who just look at it on the surface? To see this in action, watch this clip of Peter Thiel on a recent episode of Joe Rogan. He and Joe talk about how technologies like AI could change the world in the long run. Do you think that the fact that things are moving so quickly might have something to do with the fact that we haven't been publicly praised or celebrated for passing the Turing test? I think that should be a topic of conversation everywhere. It's still clear that GPT-5 will be better and GPT-6 will be crazy. These are being worked on right now. Even though things are changing so quickly, we're not quite ready to admit where we are. Yeah, I've probably thought that for about 15 years that science and technology aren't making that much progress or not as much as Silicon Valley likes to say. On the level of AI, I think it's a huge technical accomplishment, but it's still not clear. If you think about it, will it really make everyone's life better? You know, the internet was a huge step forward. How much did it make life better for people? A much, much tougher question. One of the strange things about living in a time when technology hasn't changed much is that when something does happen, we don't even know how to deal with it. That's why I believe Bitcoin was a great idea. You can say it was good or bad, but either way, it was a big deal. And it was consistently underrated for at least the first 10 to 11 years. You might be able to trade it. It was easy to climb for 10 to 11 years. It wasn't all repriced at once because huge things don't happen in our world. And because of this, we can't handle it when something big happens. In 1999, the internet was pretty big. Bitcoin was pretty big. It was really big on the internet. Bitcoin was pretty big. I also think it's pretty important to pass the Turing test. It's about the same size as the web. So Peter Thiel on the world's most popular show said that Bitcoin was just as important to technology as the internet and AI. I believe this is the main difference between people who know about Bitcoin and people who don't yet. New people only see the top of things, like how the price changes all the time and how much doubt and false information is spread about it. People who have studied it in depth can see that it will happen because they know the things about it that can't be changed and how widely it was used from a technical and revolutionary point of view. To help you understand this better, here is a video of Bill Miller IV talking about why companies will choose to add Bitcoin to their balance sheets more and more in the future. There is no doubt that the demand will rise compared to the set supply if more businesses decide they want to buy Bitcoin and never sell it. We all know that would make the prices go up. But what problem does that solve for businesses? I don't think that many businesses will want to put that kind of asset on their balance sheet and make that part of their story, so I think we should ask them what their other options are. On the other hand, you can buy a treasury asset, which according to its white paper will lose value at least 2% a year. And if you look at the Federal Reserve's past, you can see that they printed about 6% supply growth over a very long time. That happens to be the same as the long-term growth rate of nominal GDP, which is 6%. What do you know? Here is the truth. Bitcoin is the new way to measure money around the world. So the problem it solves is that you don't have all these politicians running around trying to get votes by changing taxes, redistributing wealth, and other things. What you get is what you get. That's all the Bitcoin you get. So, we're really excited about it for the long run as these dominoes keep falling in Bitcoin's favor. Here, Miller says that Bitcoin is being seen more and more by institutions and wealthy people as the pure, liquid, and counterparty-free product that it is. They are beginning to see that US dollars are what it's really fighting with on their balance sheet. And in a world where people can print unlimited money and debt is rising, Bitcoin is the clear winner. Of course, MicroStrategy is a company that backs up this claim. Finally, let's watch this video of MicroStrategy co-founder Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin's price fluctuation, which is probably the thing that people don't understand about it the most. If I told you that it would go to 13 million in 21 years, and that it would go in a straight line with no changes, would that be better than if it goes to 13 million and changes all over the place? It shouldn't be non-volatile. This is what you need, because then you know something no one else does, you want it to be very unpredictable. Go start a business, borrow money, raise capital, a hedge fund, a Bitcoin business. Tell your friends, start a show, make a life for yourself, borrow money, mortgage your house, and change the way your bank sees you in 21 years. You will be able to do work because of me. It's a lever. It's a handle for 21 years. MicroStrategy has been in business for 4 years. If Bitcoin had gone from 10,000 to 65,000 on August 11th, the day we said we were going to buy Bitcoin on August 10th, we wouldn't be worth that much now. We'd be worth $4 billion now. See, you need the time and the key. And the second thing you need is a lot of instability. For example,